Hello everyone, my name is Carl. Welcome to my workshop and welcome to my YouTube channel. And this is going to be Harrison Mill Resto episode 11, and we are going to be putting the finishing touches onto the Acme lead nut and housing that we manufactured earlier on in the series. So without further ado, let's get on with it. So this is how we're doing it. We have the housing and the nut fixed to this small angle plate. The angle plate's bolted to the table with a couple of T-nuts and a couple of M10 bolts. I haven't run the indicator across the face of this or anything like that. It's just been set with a fitter square because it's more than good enough for what we're doing here. So well, then I'm going to now bolt the assembly to the angle plate, and then we'll get the center finder up, and away we'll go. Right, that's not going anywhere, as you're supposed to say whenever you bolt anything up. This little angle plate, I got it from College Engineering Supplies, supplied as a casting, which I just milled it basically, using cylindrical squares to get the squareness as good as I could. And it's going to feature in something that I intend to do in the future on the channel, which is I want to try and get into scraping, which I'm sure will raise a few eyebrows and give us a few interesting comments, because it always does whenever you bring scraping into any kind of YouTube machining channel. But this angle plate is what I'm going to use as my scraping project, because I'll be able to scrape it flat and hopefully scrape it square as well. But enough of that. I'll give you some more details of that in a future episode. We'll get on now and we'll put this anti-rotation grub screw drilling and tapped hole into this. Right then, so we'll get this thing centered up, and we'll get this hole drilled. So you've all seen this before. Wiggler, we'll move the wiggler into the edge. It'll walk off, and then we know we're on the edge. And then the diameter of the housing came out at 4.24 inches. It was meant to be 4.25, but 4.24 is more than good enough for what it has to do. So if we take this, the diameter of the wiggler here, the stylus is 0.1, so that's 0.05. So we're looking at moving this 2.17 inches to get us into the center line, and that translates to 55.12 millimeters on this metric machine. So we'll get this on the edge of here now, and then we'll move it across, and then we'll get the hole drilled. So never use your fingers to do this, because it really hurts. Right, let's get that in. This is a really great machine. I'm going to have to put a DRO on this machine, I think, because it's a little bit kind of the Cinderella of the workshop. It does all the work, and it's in rags, so a DRO would make it very useful indeed. Here we go, any second now. There we go, this is right on the edge. Right, so we'll get the quill back up. Hope my arm's not in your way there. Let's get the quill up. Up you come. Up you come, quill. There we go. Let's get that up. And we'll get a drill in here instead of the wiggler. We'll move it over the requisite amount that we've said is 2.17 inches or 55.12 millimeters, and we'll get centered up here. We'll get a drill bit in here, and we'll get it across the requisite amount for here. Well, we've got it in the center now. It even looks like it's in the center, which is always a good thing, isn't it? So the way I am going to attack this is I've got a parallel up against the base of the housing, resting on the bottom of the V-block, and that's my datum. So I'm just going to bring the edge of this drill bit up to the edge of the parallel. Quick and dirty way of doing this. Just make sure that the edge of the tool is, the drill bit is on there. Right, let's just do that again. Just looking for the light to disappear. Right, that's good, I think. Let's do it one more time. Apologies if my head's in the way, but I need to get down here to look. Right, that's touching the parallel there now. Right, so that's on the edge of there. Now, quarter 28 UNF, according to Machinery's Handbook, is 0.2113 tapping drill size, which equates to a 5.4 in metric, so that's a 5.4 drill there. So that means that if we subtract half of that from the distance that we have to come out from this datum of the base of the housing. It's 1.5 inches where the point is for the anti-rotation grub screw, and also actually for the lubrication nipple. So we can move out here now. It would be 1.394 inches, which is 35.4 millimeters. So we're going to move this out now, 35.4 millimeters, and that will give us our point where we're going to drill our hole. That'll put us right on where we need to be, on the money, as they say in some circles. So we'll do that now, and I'll bring you back when we've done that. Right, so we've moved the drill bit the requisite amount now. That's 1.394 inches to give us the 1.5 inches from the datum point, which is the base of the housing. So let's put the parallel up again and do a quick noddy check. I do like a noddy check. Cut, think twice, cut once, as they say. Right, so let's just put this rule up against here, and that is that's 1.5 inches on the nose. So I'm happy with that. That's good. Right, according to the rule anyway, but it's a sanity check. Right, so I'm going to swap this drill out now. Let's take the quill up. Oh, this is not a very interesting video, but never mind. Right, we'll take this out. We'll put a centre drill in there to spot this, get us started, and then we'll off we go. Right, we're in position. Let's get it going. Let's get this hole drilled. So just to recap, we're going to go through here with a 5.4, which is the tapping drill size in metric for quarter 28 UNF. We'll just take this centre drill in a bit deeper. There we go. That's given us a nice chamfer there as well. So we'll get the 5.4 up now. Here it is. Just check that it is indeed 5.4, which it is. So I'm going to put this in until I get some bronze swarf coming out, so that I'll know that I've gone in deep enough so that our grub screw is going to engage with the nut slightly. So off we go with the 5.4. I think that's me through the cast iron now, or I think not quite, perhaps. Right, there's bronze there now, so we'll stop at that point. Right, so that's has gone through the housing and into the nut slightly. You can see the bronze there. So we'll bring you back when we're ready to start tapping the hole. So we're away. This is a quarter 28 second tap. I'll put the plug tap in after this one. And then once we've done this, that's that bottomed out there now, so let's get the plug tab in. Which I shall now get. Bear with. Right, here is the offending plug tap, quarter 28 UNF. And down it goes. I think I actually ground this one previously, just so it would get right to the bottom of a hole that I was tapping at the time, and it was had that sort of little point on it that sometimes plug taps have nowadays, and I don't understand why they have that. But right, this is going well. Right, that's all the way down there now. That's good. Let's get it out. Nice thread in there now. I'll endeavour to show you it in a minute. I tried to film the thread to show you it, but I couldn't very well do that. I tried, but it wasn't very successful. So there's the grub screw. I will eventually put some Loctite on there, I think. And 1/8 inch, whoa, careful Carl, careful, 1/8 inch socketed Allen key, and in she goes. And just give that a little nip. Turn it the right way, that would help. Right, that's that. It's maybe a wee bit flush actually. I think I'll get a lot of some longer ones. But I'll show you what it looks like. I'll try to anyway. Right, there you go. I'll try and get this to zoom in if I can. And there you are. That's what it looks like. It could be doing with being slightly longer. I think I'd prefer it if it was kind of flush to the top of here. But it's doing its job. We'll order a longer one, I think. But there you are. So index this round 90 now. And then we'll get the next hole drilled for the lubrication fitting, which has to go right the way through into the nut, and through the nut rather. So we'll do that next. Right then, so here's how I have indexed this round 90 degrees. I put the tap back in, I've rotated it round on the angle plate until the tap is basically parallel, flat up against this conglomeration of a V-block and a parallel. I then tightened up the clamping nut, or clamping bolt rather, and that means now we've got, we're in position 90 degrees round from where we were, ready to drill the hole for the lubrication fitting. Unfortunately, what this has meant is I've had to reposition everything. I've had to find the edge again and get my 0-0 again, but it's no matter. It's only a small thing. It's a work of moments. So we're ready to put the hole in now for the lubrication fitting. So what I've got here is a 2.4mm drill. I'm going to put that all the way through, right through to the nut and right out into the bore of the nut. Now this has been chosen, if you go back, I think it's probably Harrison Mill Resto 2 or 3. I show you some measurements of the thread, of the 5 TPI Acme thread, and this has been chosen, this 2.4mm drill, so that if it breaks through in the root or the crest, it won't make any odds to it. It's not going to cause any significant problems. I have obviously measured it so that it's going to break into the root, but you just never know. So there will be a small burr inside that nut as well that I'll have to do something about. How I'm going to do that is a matter for conjecture. Whatever method I use to get it out, it'll be a lot better than the one that Harrison used when they made it originally, because they didn't do anything. So we'll get this this spotted now with a center drill, which I've got in. You can't actually see it, but it's in the chuck. We'll bring that down now, we'll spot it, and then we'll get this 2.4 all the way through. Right, here we go. Let's get the machine started up. We'll have to go through with the 5.4 as well for the lubrication fitting, but we'll put the 2.4 through all the way first. Right, stop there. Let's get the 2.4 through now. Sorry if my hand is in the way, we'll get the... Right, this isn't really going fast enough for a 2.4, but I'm not going to adjust the speed of it because it means having to open the belt guard and all the rest of it, and I've only just got the machine set back up again. So we'll just have to go for it as it is and hope for the best. That's another thing I need on this machine actually, is a VFD. The Cinderella machine in the workshop needs a VFD and it also needs a DRO. But you know, it's only soft cast iron and brass, bronze rather, so we'll make decent progress with it. Just as long as we don't snap it off, that's the main thing. I don't intend to do that. Fortunately, both the cast iron and the bronze can be cut dry. So I can see a little bit of bronze swarf there now. We'll keep going until we're through. We're definitely into the bronze now. I can feel the difference. Don't want to break through there too sharply, so that try and minimise the amount of the burr that we make. And you've still got a good view. Any minute now. That's us right through. Right, so we've created a passageway there for the oil to get through into the nut. Let's take our 2.4mm drill out now. And what I now want to do is step up a size with the centre drill, so we get a nice chamfer, not a chamfer rather, so we get a nice start for the 5.4. I suppose we could just put it straight through, but I'm going to pilot it with this first, with this centre drill. Just a little bit anyway, because we are going to spot face this, don't forget. Perhaps I haven't mentioned that yet. Right. Let's get the 5.4 through now, in preparation for, if I haven't mentioned already, the 1/4 thread, which is going in there again, which is for the lubrication nipple. You've got to be a little bit careful with this machine though, because some of the lubrication nipples are 1/4 and some of them are what appear to be gas thread, but 26 TPI. So anyway, but this one's 1/4, the one I took out of the old housing. Here we go. Right. Just until we start to see a little bit of bronze, I think. There. Right. I'm going to stop you now because I'm going to use the vacuum cleaner. Spot facing tool is up now, purpose of which being we need to get a little flat on here so that we can actually get the oil gun in once the nipple, or once the fitting is in. Here is the fitting. Once that's in there, we need to be able to get the oil gun fully on. So we're going to create a little spot face just to give us a flat area so that we can actually get it on to the fitting correctly. Here we go. Gently, dog, gently. I think that will do us. Let's just get the vacuum in. Sorry for the noise. We're out with that. Yeah, that's perfect. Right, I think what we'll do is we'll get a slightly bigger drill and we'll just deburr that hole. Right, so off camera I put a little chamfer on the 5.4 hole just to take the burr off it and get the tap started. So we're putting the quarter 28 through now. This is the second tap, and once we've got this in, we'll put the plug in. The plug through rather. Right, that's that bottomed out. So we'll get this second tap out, get the plug tap in. Here we go, if I can find it. Where is it? Oh, there it is. It was hiding from me. Hiding. Right, here we go. Come on, don't mess me around. There we are, it's going, it's started. We'll get this in, get the thread to the correct profile, as far down as it needs to go. That's it, I believe. Right, we'll get this, just raised a slight burr on there. We'll do something about that. We'll get this blown out with the air, get a vacuum on it, maybe just take that little burr out, and then we'll put the fitting in. Right, so there you have it. That's our tapped hole. I've just deburred it with the, put the centre drill down just slightly just to deburr it. Here is the fitting, so let's see how we get on with this. That screws in there nicely. So now we come, of course, to the other reason we have the spot face is so that the hex of the nipple fits in and the nipple bottoms out properly and nicely, sits flat. That's it nipped up, and that, my friends, looks lovely. I'm going to bring you in a bit closer to show you that. So your handheld now, and that is the lubrication nipple fitted, and doesn't it look lovely? Zoom you in a bit. Look at that, you can even see the unified symbol on the side of it. Spot face, it's doing its job nicely, and it's a little beauty. So we have our grub screw, our anti-rotation grub screw here, and we have our lubrication nipple. Perfect. All we need to do now is to paint it. So here we have our completed component or assembly. So we've got the quarter 28 UNF lubrication nipple in the side now with a nice spot face to let it sit flat against the beveled surface there. We've got the quarter 28 UNF grub screw in there, which is locking or preventing rotation of the nut. I actually think that's belt and braces really, because the way that the nut went in there, you'll remember when we shrunk it in, the fit that was in there when I heated the housing up and put the nut in the freezer and we married these two together. I very much doubt that's ever going to rotate. However, we've got the grub screw just in case, and what I didn't mention when we were actually drilling this hole and tapping it on the machine was that I drilled slightly into the nut and tapped into the nut as well. So that grub screw is through threaded into the housing and also partially threaded into the nut, so that's never going to rotate. So yeah, there we are. That's the finished part, the finished article. All it needs now is a lick of paint, and then it's ready to get reassembled back onto the machine once I get the machine into a state for it to go back on. There's more work to do yet, and there's a few more parts to make as well, which we'll get into at a later date. But I'll get this thing cleaned up now, get it degreased, and we'll get some paint on it. Right, so here we go. We've got it, the nuts masked off with some tape. We've got a couple of quarter 28 UNF cap head screws in the threads to prevent them getting paint on them. I'm not going to paint this side obviously because that's a datum face. Yeah, so here we are. We've got, this is what I'm using. It's Paragon enamel. This is the zinc rich primer, so I'll put 2 coats of that on first, and then I'm using Harrison Lathe Blue, it's called, which is the colour that the machine's painted. That's again Paragon paints, so the really good stuff this. I get good results with it, and I am the world's worst painter. So at the risk of my video becoming like watching paint dry, literally, not just figuratively, I'm going to call it now. I'll get on with doing this, and the next time you see it, it'll have a nice couple of coats of primer and a couple of coats of the top coat. So we'll see you again soon. So that's the end of another one, folks. We've moved the project along a bit further, and if you've liked what I've been doing, please like, and please consider subscribing if you haven't already subscribed to my channel. It makes a massive difference to me. It really does help a lot. And so with that, we'll close the video out, and we'll see you next time.